Hello my lovely internet guys and gals, it's Kate, and today we're going to talk about being genderqueer. I asked you guys on Facebook and on Instagram what you guys wanted to hear about today, so I got some requests for me to do self-harm and suicide, and I'm going to do that next week. The reason I wanted to do genderqueer, even though only one person requested it, was because I've been struggling a lot with it lately, and I want to tell you guys all about it, and I want to tell you my own story along with busting some stereotypes. So first, I'm just going to start off with what it is, give you the facts, then I'm going to bust some stereotypes, and then I'm going to tell you my personal experience with this. So sorry if I ramble a little bit. Alright, so basically genderqueer is, it also is known as non-binary. It's a gender identity. It's not your sex, it's not typically your gender, but it's your gender identity. It is on a spectrum. It's not just black and white. It's not just you're this or you're this. It's on a spectrum. I can tell you about mine, and someone can tell you about theirs. Everyone is different in this aspect. It falls underneath the trans umbrella, and basically it can embody 2 or more genders. And in that aspect, a lot of people, basically, you don't fit in with the socially accepted, most popular boy, girl. You don't fit into one of those categories. So you're kind of in the middle. It can be compared to gender fluid, all of that. So that's basically the definition of it, is you don't fall into a concrete gender. That has nothing to do with your sex or your sexual orientation, as I'm about to go into. So one of the first stereotypes that I have heard is that all genderqueer people are gay. As I just said, your sex, your gender, and your sexual orientation are all different things. Somebody could be genderqueer and yet still be straight. It could be a genderqueer male, it could be a genderqueer female. It is an umbrella term. So when you get that in the mix, it really makes it hard to just automatically assume, since they're genderqueer, they must be gay. See what I mean? And then also I heard that they're trying to be a man or trying to be a woman. That doesn't even make sense in my head. Like, they're not trying. Their gender in their brain is that they are a man or a woman, or if they don't fit into either, they're genderqueer. They create their own pronouns, they use their own pronouns, and, you know, that's up to them. That's none of your business. They're not trying. Some people don't get offended by that word, but for some reason I don't like the aspect of I'm trying to be a man or trying to be a woman. And also, they're automatically trans, like they're automatically transsexual, I guess would be the correct term, that they're about to go under the surgery or hormones or whatever it might be, that they're going to become a man or become a woman. That's not always the case. A lot of times they'll also mistake it for cross-dressing, which is not the same either. Genderqueer is its own thing, even though it falls underneath the trans umbrella. Alright, and now I'm really going to go into my own experience with it. I didn't really realize I was genderqueer until I actually came out as gay and started dressing more to my style and what fits me best. I don't dress like this for anyone else. I don't dress like this because of what is popular. I dress like this because this is what suits me best. This is how I feel. A lot of days I will be more feminine and I'll have my hair down maybe, it might be curled, I might be wearing like makeup, like fancy eyeliner or something, and I might be wearing like, I think the most girly thing I wear these days is like skinny jeans and like my weird boots, like these ones. Like, I think that's about as girly as I'll get with that, but in that aspect, like, those are my feminine days. I mean, there's days like today where I bind and I wear really baggy shirts, and I put my hair all up in a hat, and, you know, that fits me better. It's not a swing of the mood, now I'm a guy. This is how I feel today, this is how I want to express myself. It goes along with gender expression in that aspect. And in my experience, when I tell people that I'm genderqueer, they kind of get it, they kind of don't. You have to explain it, but once you do, they understand that, you know, you're not just limited to being a woman. Just because my sex is female does not mean that that is my gender identity. you do run into people that are not very comfortable with it, and even if you tell them the pronouns you want to use, they don't want to use them. Typically, the way I describe myself is I am an openly gay, genderqueer woman. Because I realize that my sex is woman, and I do have feminine days. I try to be more masculine in my appearance a lot, and I feel like I'm a more masculine dominant kind of person, but I also am a woman, and I admit that. So usually my pronouns are she or Z, which Z is like a gender neutral pronoun. And in my experience, all my friends know I am, and they respect that. My colleagues at my GSA, they respect that, everything like that. And I know I've never gotten bullied. I have never gotten several of those stereotypes, but I hear far too many people getting those, and that's really not right. And this isn't going to turn into a, like, this is how you treat people, this is how you don't. But it's just a general, like, you know, respect people, respect their pronouns. If your name is Bob, and I walk up to you and I start calling you by some other weird name, like, I'm like, you don't look like Bob, you look like Nancy. I start calling you Nancy, you're not going to be very happy now, are you? Didn't think so. So, general respect, I should hope you have. And the way that I came to, like, labeling the way that I dress and the way that I have my gender identity was actually I met somebody else who was genderqueer, and I was like, so you consider yourself genderqueer? Whoa, we share a lot of similarities in the aspects of this is how I dress and this is how I feel in my head, and I like being boyish and dressing like a dude and, you know, that stuff. And I was like, whoa, I can put a label to the thoughts and the feelings. Recently, like, the reason I've been really struggling with it was, like, you know, there would just be days when I would get out of bed and I would just sit there, and I feel like this is some of the reasons why I'm kind of late everywhere, is I would sit there and I would be like, I don't know what to wear, because I couldn't really come up with how I wanted to express myself. And that really, it seems like such an insignificant occurrence that, you know, it's shallow and I don't know how to dress myself, and I'm having these, like, personal weird conflictions in my head. But I legitimately, on more than one occasion, have broken down because I just didn't understand, like, what in my head is not being able to decide this. Why can't I figure out who I am today? Like, just the simple aspect of lying out two different outfits, one feminine and one masculine, and not being able to decide which one, just, like, broke me into tears, and I was just a complete emotional wreck, especially when you got anxiety and you struggled with depression, and, you know, it's still a challenge every day to be like, hey guys, I'm still a woman, but I'm also really gay and genderqueer. So, in my own aspect, I feel like more than being bullied and being ridiculed by others and having their stereotypes affect me, it's been a kind of personal struggle. And I have heard from a lot of other genderqueer people that it is a struggle within yourself. And I mean, if you're coming to terms with the fact that maybe you're genderqueer, you know, you don't have to label it as that. Labels are for filing cabinets, and we define labels. Labels don't define us. Ooh, I think that's one of the hardest things, is that I have to, like, realize that I am genderqueer, and, you know, sometimes I can't make up my mind, and sometimes I feel a certain way, and my body doesn't match up with how I feel. My gender doesn't match up with my sex sometimes, and it's kind of hard. One of the hardest things that I've noticed is that if I go into the bathroom, and I wear a lot of bow ties. People know I wear bow ties. If you know me, I wear bow ties. So I'll go to the bathroom, and maybe I'll have my hair pulled up like this, which, no, I didn't cut it, it's just in a bun, and I put a hat on it. I'll have my hair up, and I'll have my hat on, and I will go into the women's restroom, and I will get stared at by women. They'll be at the sink washing their hands, or they'll be getting paper towels, or checking themselves out in the mirror, doing their little, like, makeups and stuff, and they'll be, like, staring at me like, you're not supposed to be in the bathroom, you're a guy, or, like, they think I'm trans. And for some reason, that doesn't really get to me. I guess I kind of have a thick skin when it comes to what other people think. I'm just kind of like, sucks to suck. But, usually it's a personal struggle, even though I have seen some weird stares and get some weird looks. That was my story. I mean, it takes a lot to come into it. If you're struggling, don't hesitate to message me. Don't struggle to reach out to other people. I mean, there's a whole group, a whole colony, big village colony thing waiting to accept you into our genderqueer awesome community. You know, I fall under the gay community, lesbian community, I fall under the LGBT, I fall under transgender too. Every LGBT, GSA kind of group has their own little cliques. You've got the trans, asexual, demisexual, I mean, you've got your gender expressions, you've got your gender identities, you have your different sexes. I mean, it can be just about anything. And you know, I fall under a lot of that, so I have come up with a lot of love and support from my little family that I have. But if you need anything, if you need any help, don't hesitate to message me. If you're struggling with your sex, your gender identity, your sexuality, you know, don't hesitate. I am a human sexuality major. I absolutely get very passionate about this stuff. I love talking to others and helping them through this, you know. So just some food for thought. Just thought I'd share my story, share some facts, and bust some stereotypes, because I'm sick of stereotypes. Let's just all be friends, okay? Stop it. Just ask. Ask questions. It's good to know answers. Alright, well, I'm here, I'm queer, I'm trying to change the world. Later, guys.